10XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
They send 4. He dropped. Mack look, fires toward the end zone. That ball is going to be caught for the touchdown. Parker Washington, a terrific pitch and catch, and Jacksonville strikes first. Dropping his Jones against an all-out blitz this time. Fires, got a man out there. That ball's going to be caught for the touchdown. He read the blitz. He hit Brevin Easton for a 31-yard touchdown. He's going to get hit. He's going to get sacked. Joe Gaziano got him all the way back at the 23. There's no timeouts left. And I believe that's going to end the ball game. And the Jaguars win it 20-7.
Nothing like getting signed a day ago and getting a sack the next day.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Jeff Lageman, and
Hold my pocket,
Dylan Denmark.
This might be the time my headset officially died, Tom.
No,
Maybe I saw you look at me.
I was like, okay. I was like, I know it wasn't here yesterday. How's the show start again?
Yeah, it's in one of those funny zones. If I plug it in like halfway, I can kind of hear half of what you say.
It's the plug over there, Mike. It's the plug. It's not your headset.
It may be the plug.
It's the plug.
Is it?
Yeah, Saturday mornings, you always got
that one over there?
The one right over there, you got to fiddle with it all the
right,
time.
maybe it is because I've been using this one, and then Molly needs that for updates.
Yeah.
So anyway.
It's the plug.
All right.
You can share.
It could be my brain, logs for all we know. It could be that. I can only process
Well,
half
you know
of
what,
what's
Mike?
being
Let's
said
replace
these
that
days.
starting plug and put a replacement in.
Yeah, well, let's. Right. Which starting plug are we talking about? The quarterback starting plug? Oh, no, let's not start off on that foot. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back, Tony Smith. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Logs, hello. Welcome in.
Doing good, good.
Another W for the Jaguars.
Yeah, I didn't really expect anything but. When you got 3 experienced quarterbacks, you expect this team to play well. If you compare this roster at the quarterback position and you compare it to other teams, Trask is a debatable backup quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really, he is. And Wolford, I know he's a hometown guy and everything, but
not an NFL quarterback.
He's not.
No. And right, they had a huge advantage with Mac Jones, and that's apparent. And I think, though, it shows the depth of the roster, the 2s and the 3s.
Well, it does and it doesn't, I think, at times. I think the quarterback can hide some of, or let me say this. If you don't have an adequate quarterback in the preseason, sometimes you can't tell what you really have. And so for the Jaguars, you have a functional quarterback playing the entire game, whether it be C.J. Beathard or Mac Jones, and so you can see other players are able to perform when the quarterback plays well. If the quarterback is not playing well, then there's a lot of parts of an offense and of a team, to be quite honest, that don't function very well. And so if you have, a rookie who is no chance of making the team, but he's playing because he's on your roster and you want to feel like you're giving him reps in the preseason, okay. But do you really get to evaluate the rest of your roster if that position is not playing very well?
All right. Well, how do you evaluate what Austin Trammell was able to do? Got 5 targets, caught 4 for 75 yards, had a short punt return mixed in as well.
But, and you talk about a happy cat that has quarterbacks like we do, that can function at that point in the preseason game. It gives him an opportunity to put really good film out there.
So is that all he was doing there? Was he just putting good film out there, or does he have a legitimate chance to make this 53?
He's got a chance to make the practice squad, but, he's got no chance of making the 53.
How many you're counting on how many receivers on the 53?
Well, whether you're 6 or 7, he still doesn't have a chance.
So, if it's set, who's locked in? Is Elijah Cooks locked in for that 7th spot?
No. If you look at the wide receiver specifically, obviously the big 3.
Right. You got the 3. You got Parker Washington. You got Duvernay. Right. If you count Duvernay, if you're making it 7.
And you got to count Duvernay.
Right. You got to count Duvernay. So
that's 5.
So you can have, is Tim Jones a lock?
Yeah, I think he is.
Okay.
And the reason I say he is because he plays special teams and he plays it well. You don't need a receiver. You need guys that can play receiver but play special teams for that roster spot.
All right, so let's say he's number 6. Okay, and if they're going to keep 7, which is not a mortal lock, but if they keep 7, who's the guy?
I think if it's 7, then it's Elijah Cooks.
Okay, pretty rough outing for him the other night.
Had to drop. But, I mean, if you got to look at the entire body of work, his size, his ability to play special teams, he's a bigger body. You know, the new kickoff rule, you're looking for a bigger body in that play, on that play. He had the one drop that was a heck of a throw.
Bad drop. Had a penalty on special teams, too.
Yeah. So, I mean, is it perfect? No. And that's why Tim Jones has the nod over Elijah Cooks, is because Tim Jones can play special teams.
Right.
And Elijah Cooks plays it, but he doesn't play it at the level of Tim Jones. I mean, because on game day, Tim Jones is not playing wide receiver.
No. Is Parker Washington playing special teams outside of being the kick returner?
No. Besides being the returners, no.
Do you think then and I agree,
now,
Parker's going to make the 53.
Let me just say this, that if he were, down the pecking order, if he weren't so good at wide receiver, then he would have to play special teams. And do I think he could play special teams at a high level? I do. I think because he's a strong dude. I mean, he's a strong wide receiver.
Would you expect, if they do go 6 wide receivers on the 53 and leave Cooks off, right? If that's the direction they go on.
And they may do that.
Right. On game day against Miami, usually 5 of those guys are active.
Right.
So if 5 of those guys are active, I assume Parker would be the odd man out in that situation as kind of the extra guy because Duvernay is going to be active.
Right.
And so what because of the special teams, Tim Jones, I would assume, as that 5th wide receiver would be active.
They could have 6 on game day, and because Duvernay he's kind of a specialist, and so he's going to give you value, especially with the unknowns with the kickoff. So I think you're more apt to have Parker Washington and Devin Duvernay, which are 2 good returners on the first game out of the gate.
And I think that's helped by Keelan just not being available to this point. If the thought was he was going to kind of be the second kick returner, well, he's not been out there to do that yet for the team.
I think, and if you're going to try to, because at the end of the day, the goal is to keep all the good players that you can, right? I mean, to not lose anybody that you view as valuable. He's a draft pick, so you view him as valuable. Otherwise, you wouldn't have spent the pick that you did on him. But yet you've seen nothing so far in the preseason. So in a perfect world, you would just take him and say, that foot's not really healing well, or whatever he has, and just put him on IR. Because, right now, as a rookie, the onboarding process, that train has left the station. It's already gone. So in my mind, perfect guy for IR. Just put him on IR. And I'm not talking about the 2 positions that you can recall somebody from IR.
Right.
I'm talking just put them on IR for the year.
Yeah. You got to, I guess, you have to waive him, right, and then sign him and put him on IR after that. I do think you have to expose him, right, if you do that.
Yeah, and I don't know how. I think if you can put him on IR. That's a great question. I should know the answer to that. I think
if you put them on IR before the season, they have to clear something.
They got to clear waivers, and then they go on IR for the year.
Yeah.
So, yes, they does get exposed. But here's the thing. What are they looking at? The people that may pick them up, what are they looking at? They're not really seeing anything.
No, well, they're looking at his college film.
College film
whatever.
is all they're looking at. And he's a late-round pick, which, a late-round pick is, what is he, 5th, 6th-round pick?
5th.
Yeah.
Running back, hadn't shown anything, mostly returner. I think it'd be very unlikely that he would get picked up.
Probably so.
But, and on top of that, you're here to win now. So you're not making a decision to where, well, you know what, he might be available later on. You got to go. You got to win. You don't have time to save a roster spot for a rookie that may be good. You're going right now.
All right, we've got a lot to get to today, a lot of questions on the offensive line. That's the number one priority from what we've seen already on social media responses today. We've got a lot of different angles to get into with Jeff Lageman. If you've got a particular question for Logs, on this Check the Tape Tuesday. You can ask it yourself on the Garber Auto Mall phone lines at 641-1010. Same number for the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. You can hit us up on social media at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, at Logs56, or at 1010XL Denmark.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking Claws, baby.
Hey, don't jump the gun there, Claus. All right?
Almost did it.
How we doing this morning?
I'm good. I slept great last
Did you?
night. I did.
Why was that?
I was really tired.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just hit the bed early?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Good for you, man. You're becoming a grown-up right before our very eyes.
Old soul.
Very proud of you. Dylan Denmark, ladies and gentlemen. Logs, let me ask you while we've got a minute here before we hit the break. Roy Robertson-Harris getting the start, played a bunch last week as a vet who's been on this depth chart as a starter at times this offseason. Is something going on with him? Like, I understand, like, there's certain guys that, like Anton, right, didn't play last week, so you want to get him in there, and Ezra Cleveland and guys like that. And I even understand getting, like, Brian Thomas Jr. some reps. He's new to the league. It's a little surprising to see a vet like Roy Robertson-Harris playing as much as he is when the rest of his starting teammates are not. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I think it definitely makes you take notice, but then if you go back and you kind of look at where Roy was at and what he was doing all through the OTAs and the offseason, he wasn't doing anything. He was in a boot. He had an injury with his ankle, Achilles, foot, whatever it was, and wasn't practicing. So now he's, I don't want to say behind, but he is a little bit behind from the consuming the defensive scheme kind of deal. So, and he was a little bit slow out of the gate in training camp because you could tell that he was kind of favoring that leg that he was in the boot with. And so I think they want to see him improve. And sometimes the only way to improve is that, look, you got to play. And he's not going anywhere. I mean, the contract says he's not going anywhere. And I'm not saying that he would, even if the contract didn't say what he was. He's still a big, powerful man. But they want Roy to get back into shape. And everybody has a different path. There's no, under the, Coughlin years and going to old school football, everybody had to do this. We all got to do this if you're going to play. Everybody has a different formula now to get ready to play. It's almost customized to the individual. And for Roy to get ready, he needs the reps. And that's what they believe. And I talked to Roy before the game, and he said he's starting to feel better. And he said that that part of it has been just learning to cope with the injury and then coming back. It's something that he's never dealt with before. So, he wasn't you might expect an older guy to be kind of salty about having to play in the second preseason game when maybe some of the other guys are not playing. I didn't get that impression at all from him, and he felt he needed the work. And obviously the team does too, so it's all good. And I think he's going to be a valuable component to this football team because when you look at what they have on the interior, I mean, Armstead, you're expecting to be a guy in there. Mason Smith is a rookie. Devon Hamilton coming back from a back injury. I mean, you got a lot of question marks at that defensive tackle position and unknowns about how they're going to be able to perform this year. But you need Roy. You need Roy to be a player for you.
All right, well, there you go. That settles that, at least from the perspective of Jeff Lageman, whose perspective we are digging into every Tuesday. It's a Check the Tape Tuesday. We already told you all the different ways you can interact with the show. That includes, of course, the YouTube virtual studio chat there as well. Post your questions for Logs. We'll pass those along, and trust me, we've got a bunch on the offensive line. We'll try to ask a few different permutations on it, and someone about 45 minutes will tune into the show, Tony, for the first time and go, why aren't you talking about the offensive line?
For sure.
We're going to deal with that coming up next here. This is Jaguars Today. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Jeff Lageman, and Dylan Denmark on a Check the Tape Tuesday on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. The 20-pound summer slim down coming at you right now. Look, you may need to lose a lot more than 20 pounds. I did need to lose more than 20 pounds. Hacker, Matt Hayes, we've all dropped a bunch of weight. But if you want to get that first 20 started and feel good about yourself heading into fall, Awaken 180 is the system for you. You're going to average about 5 pounds of weight loss a week. There's no exercise requirement. There are no medications that come with it. You eat to lose weight. That's right. They're going to help you retrain your body and turn turn it into a fat-burning machine by teaching you what to eat, when to eat, how much to eat, and pretty soon your habits are going to change, your body's going to change, and you're going to love the results. Just like I have. Not only are you going to lose the weight with Awaken 180, but they guarantee they're going to help you keep it off with free coaching and support for life. Hit your goal weight, and everything is free from that point on with Awaken 180, and I'm nearing a full year anniversary keeping my weight loss off. You want to be the next success story? Call 844-346-1800 or schedule a free consultation online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. The home of the home team you grew up with.
And what a pleasure it must be to play quarterback for the Jaguars, to have this kind of talent on both sides of the ball.
1010XL.
Jennifer, Luxury has a new address in Jacksonville.
Oh, do tell, John.
Randy Marion Cadillac on Southside Boulevard. We've got over 40 Cadillac Lyrics in stock.
40? That's incredible. Any color you want?
You bet. Pick your color and drive away today. Plus, we're giving away a free home charger with every Lyric.
Fantastic. Anything else?
How about a car you'll never have to change the oil on?
No oil changes ever? Now that's luxury.
Randy Marion Cadillac, where Jacksonville meets luxury.
Visit us today on Southside Boulevard and tell them Jennifer sent ya.
When it comes to towing products, your safety on the road is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Whether it's a heavy-duty tow hitch, trailer frame, wiring, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjax.com to explore a range of products and schedule your installation. Cannons of Jacksonville, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
Got a cracked windshield? Not only is it dangerous, but did you know it's also illegal? Call Baker Glass. Mack and his crew use the best auto glass in the market, and they accept most insurance. Plus, all new windshields come with a full warranty. From cars, to trucks, to RVs, you can count on Baker Glass to be fast and friendly. Just check out their Google reviews. Come see us at the shop on Casta Avenue, or we can come to you at your home or business.
I'm Mack with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Expert Automotive is ready to keep you cool this summer. Right now, get an AC inspection or a system cooling checkup. Your choice for only $19.99. Their gift to you this summer is $50 off any service and a free tire rotation with any service. Their ASE certified technicians can keep your car cool without breaking the bank this summer. Call them at 374-3373 to get an appointment today. Expert Automotive. They never sell greed, only what you need.
Right now, they're on their way to ruin your day. Don't bother calling the police. They can't help. And if you're not prepared, you will suffer. Yes, it's that time of the year. Heat and humidity are attacking North Florida. But help is at hand. Call Mike Merritt's Heating and Air Conditioning. Mike Merritt has a license to chill and lets you maintain your comfort zone at a bargain price. How? Mike Merritt stands ready to help, routine or emergencies. And Mike Merritt knows emergencies can happen at any time. So with Mike, there's never any overtime charges. And Mike's team works without commissions. Merritt will never try to sell you parts you don't need. You can't trust just anyone with a truck. Call Mike Merritt, the company North Florida has trusted for 35 years. Call today. License number CAC 050384.
It's all about the beautiful game. The Sporting Jax Soccer Hour. From national teams to youth soccer on the First Coast. Join Cole Pepper, Mauricio Ruiz, and Becky Burley for Soccer Talk. Tuesday at 6 p.m. on 1010 a.m.
Calling all fans of Duval to downtown Las Vegas during the game against the Silver and Black. This is Lauren Brooks from Helmets and Heels. Join us at Circa Resort and Casino this December for the Jacksonville Game Day Getaway featuring an incredible all-in package. Get a 3-night stay at Circa, $200 food and beverage credit, plus a day bed at Stadium Swim. With 6 temperature-controlled pools and a massive screen, it's the world's largest hot tub party. The all-in package is only available until August 30th, so act now. To book and to join the Heels in Vegas, visit circalasvegas.com today.
It's the end of summer sale with Renewal by Andersen, energy-efficient, custom-built replacement windows and doors. Save $300 on every window and $825 on all patio doors. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. But restrictions apply, and this offer expires August 31st. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com for details.
License number CGC 1527613.
Roof damage? Call before you claim. Green Law Group, fighting insurance companies for you. They will work for you when you have roof damage. Don't let your insurance deny you. Don't call an adjuster. Call Green Law Group at 904-302-7055. Remember, if you have roof damage, call Green Law Group before you claim. They've settled millions and will work hard to get your claim and new roof. Green Law Group. Call before you claim. 904-302-7055.
Veterans, did you know VA mortgage rates have plummeted and you can now access up to 100% of your home's equity and turn that into cash right now? Hey, it's Roger Moore, President and CEO of Loan Pronto, announcing our VA Equity Advantage program. This VA offer can get you $50,000, $70,000, $100,000 cash out with no junk fees and no hassle. With APRs in the 5s, you can pay off all those credit cards, personal loans, car loans, and get one easy-to-manage payment. Veterans we help save on average $850 per month. And listen, if you're a veteran with a current mortgage rate over 6.25%, we can do a streamlined refinance with no income verification and no appraisal, saving you hundreds a month. At Loan Pronto, we respect what you've done for our country, and we show it. Call now and ask about our special VA Equity Advantage program. 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com. 904-999-1508.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
I was toting my pack along the dusty Winnemucca Road.
Jeff Lageman Tuesday on Jaguars Today is brought to you by Napa Auto Care. Go to the pros Napa know-how. JacksNapaAutoCareGroup.com on 1010XL.
So I climbed into the cab.
All right, check the tape Tuesday. Jeff Lageman in studio with us. 641-1010 on the Garber Automotive phone lines or the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Probably the easiest ways to get in, unless you've got your X or Twitter app open. You can fire us off a tweet at one of our social media handles, and we'll pass it along to Jeff as well. Lots of questions about the offensive line, logs, a lot of different permutations. We'll get to a bunch. We'll see what you cover, though, as we take a couple of calls on that subject to start things off. And we'll begin with Darren in St. Johns County. Darren, good morning.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. Hey, Jeff, just wondering, the worst game I feel like we had from a fan's perspective and a game perspective was the San Francisco game last year. It was very embarrassing. And being that Eric Armstead was part of that team, does it make sense from a fan standpoint? Am I just wondering in La La Land to have talked to Eric Armstead from a coach's standpoint and say, hey, what was your game plan? What was our weaknesses? How did y'all come about what you did to it? They decimated us from the first play of the game. And so I'll hang up and listen to your thoughts on that. Have a good day, guys.
I don't think you'd gain any information from Eric that you wouldn't be able to identify from watching the film. Although it's a great question, Darren, and I appreciate the question, but I mean the film doesn't hide anything in the National Football League, and I think that that's the one thing that is the truth teller of all. And I think that game kind of happened twofold. One, I think they got a little bit too amped up, and number two, they got hit in the mouth. You know, they just weren't ready to play, and they are not, in my opinion, at that point, they weren't ready to play that team that was at that moment. They had gotten hit in the mouth the last couple of weeks, and they were ready to go. So, and that can happen in this league, and it is what it is. But there's no doubt that at the conclusion of last year, there was a noticeable shortage of physical power on the fronts. You know, when you go to the San Francisco game, you go to the Tennessee game, you go to the Tampa game around Christmas time. I mean, I thought that those games were perfect illustrations. This team needs to get more physical, and they tried to address it in the offseason. Now, did they do enough? Well, we're going to find out here pretty soon.
Well, what was your evaluation of what you saw from the offensive line on Saturday night?
I thought there were some really good parts of it. Of course, very few of the starters played. I think Anton looked good. Walker Little, I think, continues to play really well. Well enough at left tackle that, if there's any kind of a slip-up by Cam, then Walker Little's probably going to be your left tackle, or you would put him in. You wouldn't hesitate to put him in. I'm not saying that he's going to lose his job. Thought Ezra Cleveland really had a nice game because I was worried about him from the joint practices. He didn't have good practices. But whatever was bothering him in those two practices cleared up by the game because I thought he was physical.
Could have been the heel. I mean, just feeling better.
Yeah, maybe. Whatever it was, he was definitely not. I mean, he was gimpy in the practices, and he was not gimpy in the game at all. Really liked what Anton did. I thought Cooper Hodges overall had a lot of snaps in that ball game, and I think got a real valuable lesson. And that in the NFL, it's 60 to 85 plays in a game, and you got to be on point for all of them. He got beat clean on one, gave up some leaky pressure on a couple other ones. But, I mean, overall, he still continues to show that he's a powerful, very powerful player. And I think is going to be a building block of the future. But is it something that you would trust right now? Maybe not. But I like what he's doing there. I thought Fortner played pretty well. Was the one thing that Fortner does, and I know it's easy to criticize him at times, and he gets a lot of criticism, and at moments last year, some of it was deserved, that he's not real physical. But the one thing that he does well is he moves really well. He moves well in space. And I think it's going to be a very interesting decision when you come down to the final roster of how that composition is going to, and what that composition is going to be on the offensive line. Because I'm thinking the number's 9, and if it's 9, I think you're down to Blake Hance and Fortner, a decision on one of those two guys, because I don't think you're going to end up letting Foster go. He's a draft pick, rookie tackle.
4th rounder.
You like Cooper Hodges. So I think and obviously Walker Little's the swing guy. I mean, those basically are your 8.
What about Shatley?
Shatley's not going to make the active roster. He's probably going to be on practice squad if he makes practice squad, and that's going to be interesting to see how that works, because you have Shatley and Hance both on practice squad, and then you also have other considerations, other guys that get released from other places, may have something to say about that.
McManus was, watching in his rewatch of it, he was impressed with Cole Van Lanen and thought he should get a look at guard. How do you feel about that?
Well, no, I disagree with Tom, but Tom was dead on the money in that Cole Van Lanen played well. Cole Van Lanen had arguably the best game maybe of any of the offensive linemen. When he was brought in here, which he was a trade, and it was a late-round pick from Green Bay, they played him at guard. And he got overmatched physically at guard. Playing guard, you got to be a big, strong dude. And Van Lanen's just not built that way, and that's not his power or his strength. He's not super strong. And they moved him to tackle, and ever since they moved him to tackle, he has been doing nothing but getting better and better every year. The problem is he good enough to make this team? Is he better than Walker Little? Is he better than Devin Foster? And the answer to those questions, is he performing better than Foster right now? Yes. But does he have the ceiling that Foster has? I think that they would argue that he doesn't, because you look at where the draft status is of Foster, you'd say that he has higher ceiling. But I don't think there's any doubt that Cole Van Lanen is going to be a candidate for practice squad, and if somebody doesn't pick him up and sign him to their active roster to be a backup. I mean, he's playing that well. There's a couple guys on this football team that if they don't make the active roster, which I don't think they are, that I would not be surprised if somebody comes in and snaps them up. Cole Van Lanen is one of them. And I would say the other one is DeGora, the tight end, who's had a very strong preseason, not just as a tight end, but he's doing pretty well on special teams, and he's done a very good job of blocking. So those two guys on offense, I think, have really kind of stood out. And then also you'd put the wide receiver out there, Trammell, another guy that's gotten some good film put out there.
All right. If right now, if they keep 9, okay, we know who the starting 5 are projected to be. Walker Little, Cooper Hodges, Javon Foster. That's 8.
Yes.
Who's the 9th?
That's where I was saying it comes down to.
It's Hance, Fortner, Van Lanen.
I don't think Van Lanen's in the conversation just because you're real tackle heavy. It's got to be.
Because you want to find a guy who can play in the interior.
It's got to be an interior guy. And so if it's.
So probably those. What about Darrell Williams?
Well, just real quick going to him because, I mean, the focus now is that when you start thinking about that 9th spot is who can snap. You know, that's the big question. Do you trust if Blake Hance makes it, do you trust him to snap? Or if not, then can Cooper Hodges, do you trust him to snap? Well, he's never played center before. Can Darrell Williams be put on practice squad? Shatley be on practice squad? Can you elevate them off a practice squad to take the snapping duty? So there's a lot of that kind of thought process that's going to go into this, but it doesn't just count the active roster. It also could count in the thought process of who's on your practice squad. But if it's on your active roster, you feel like you need to have a backup center on your active roster, then I think the decision would be Fortner. Because, I mean, right now he has shown that he is the second best center on this team right now.
All right, let's take a break. We have a lot more questions on the O-line coming in, and we'll get more of your calls on that subject as well coming up with Jeff Lageman. This is a Check the Tape Tuesday, just getting into things, looking back on Saturday's 20-7 win. But beyond that, what are we expecting to see from the Jags against the Atlanta Falcons on Friday night? We'll get into that as well. Tony Smith is back. Dylan Denmark's here. I'm Mike Dempsey. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Pella Windows and Doors. Got them in my house. Love them. Make my house look good. Make it more energy efficient. Absolutely great design. Strongest warranties in the business. There's nothing not to like about Pella Windows and Doors. I chose them for my own home, and whether you're a homeowner replacing your windows like I was, maybe you're building a new home, maybe you're a trade professional working with clients, the design experts at Pella are going to help your project run just as smoothly as they did mine and look just as good. Visit PellaJacks.com or visit the Pella showroom. They're on Phillips Highway right here in Jacksonville. That's Pella Windows and Doors.
Jaguars Today.
For the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios at 1010XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Hey, school's in session, and here's today's lesson. We have hundreds of certified vehicles to choose from, starting as low as $89.99. Plus, they come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile peace of mind warranty and free oil changes. That means you and your soon-to-be drivers will be protected. Plus, every purchase allows us to fund teachers' projects for the entire school year. Your next assignment, get to Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville. Deadline August 31st. We're here to wow you and our teachers.
Josie for Hard Rock Bet. It's Florida's only legal sportsbook. Hard Rock Bet is the way to go. Easy sign up, fast deposits and withdrawals, PayPal, Venmo, cards, and more. They take them all. And we're talking hundreds of props, parlays, live play-by-play betting across every sport. And you can bet from anywhere in the state of Florida. If your first bet doesn't win, you get up to $100 back for another shot. Download Hard Rock Bet now or go online at hardrock.bet.
When pests invade your space, you don't just need them out, you need them out fast. And you need to keep them out. At Terminix, we show up for you and eliminate pests quicker. Because we care about what matters most to you. When pests show up, so do we. Don't live with a pest problem. Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. TERMINIX.com. Terminix it.
911, what's your emergency?
Help, we don't have air conditioning.
Ma'am, 911 is for emergencies only.
Well, my husband's trying to stuff himself in the refrigerator.
I see. Well, maybe you should call Duck Duck Air Conditioning.
To get him out of the fridge?
To get a new AC system.
Beat the Florida heat with Duck Duck Air Conditioning. Jacksonville area's AC experts. For service, repairs to new installations, trust the Duck. DuckDuckAC.com.
Hey gang, Hicken here for Zero Res. Man, it is hot outside this time of the year. Many of us are staying inside or going to the pool. Well, my friends at Zero Res are also heating things up. As you know, Zero Res does a great job of cleaning carpets and rugs. But they also clean luxury vinyl planking, tile and grout, fine stone and hardwood floors. And right now, the hottest price of the year, 25% off all hardwood cleaning. That's 25% off tile, LVP, fine stone, and hardwood floors. Zero Res, man, spell it forward. Zero Res, spell it back. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Oh, my goodness.
Fishing is more fun when you catch something.
Yeah!
Listen for the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show with Captain Kevin. Brought to you by Veterans Wholesale Cabinets and Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010XL AM.
The coolers are full at your local Gate gas station, making it easy for you to cruise in and cruise out with little downtime. Ice cold Coronas, Natty Light, Stella Artois, and Michelob Ultra. Don't forget the king of beers, Cold Buds. Gate's got them in the cooler, waiting for you.
Hey there, sports fans. This is Niall Lawrence Stample, former Seminole football player and proud owner of NLS Cleaning. Looking to get your business or home shining like a champion? Look no further. NLS Cleaning is your local go-to pressure washing and window cleaning servicer. Whether it's commercial or residential, we are fine-tuned like a team gearing up to win it all. So for a sparkling finish and a team that's truly committed to your satisfaction, check out our website at nlscleaning.net. NLS Cleaning, where every cleaning gets your business or home game ready for any occasion.
Former Jaguars corner and first-year head football coach at Duval Charter School at Bay Meadows, K-12, Aaron Beasley here. Are you looking for an A-rated K-12 school prioritizing academics, arts, and athletics? Duval Charter School at Bay Meadows offers a rigorous curriculum to develop strong minds with an additional focus on growing good hearts. DCSB has been an A school for 8 years, and our tuition is free. Now enrolling. Apply at baymeadowscharter.org.
Our slogan, Know Before You Blow, applies to more than just DUI cases. Hi, I'm attorney Lee Lockett of Lockett Law. Battery charges can result in jail time and criminal convictions too, so know before you blow a gasket and hit a loved one or a stranger. Drug crimes like possession of marijuana and cocaine will land you in cuffs too, so know before you blow. In a boating under the influence case, you also have the option to blow or not to blow. So know your options. Know before you blow. Go to knowbeforeyoublow.com now. Offices Jacksonville.
Hidden Hills Golf Club invites you to come out and experience one of the most beautiful and unique golf courses in North Florida. Affordable golf, friendly service, and great times in the Hills Grill after play. Book your tee time, hiddenhillsgc.com.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
This Friday, the Jaguars will wrap up their preseason in Atlanta when they face the Falcons. The Jags are 2-0 ahead of their final tune-up game. Head coach Doug Peterson spoke with media on playing starters for their third preseason game.
Yeah, this third and final preseason game, we usually let the starters play a little bit more, and again, it depends on the circumstance and the way the game goes, but you'd love to get maybe 2 quarters, out of them. We do take a look at Atlanta a little bit, and we simulate a game week schedule-wise now that camp is broke, and that's probably the only reason these weeks are important to get the guys no longer in the hotel, they're living at home, transportation here, all that kind of stuff. It simulates, sort of feels like a game week.
Sound courtesy of Jaguars.com. I'm Molly McDonald with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars Update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jeff Lageman Tuesday
is brought to you by
Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
All right, somebody asked what's the cap hit if the Jags cut Cam Robinson. You'll have a cap savings if you were to cut Cam Robinson. There'd be a dead cap hit of like $4.6 million. Right? Yes. Yeah. But, I think he's scheduled to count something like $16 million against the cap this year. There'd be like a dead cap hit of like $4.6 million. So you'd create more cap space. You have the 9th most cap space in the league right now. It's not like you need it to maneuver in the short term. Mm-hmm. I don't know about you. I'd be very surprised if Cam Robinson's not a member of the Jacksonville Jags.
Yeah, so would I. He's not going anywhere.
Right. Even if they felt Walker Little's a better option. I mean, Cam is clearly one of the top 3 tackles on his team.
He's a left tackle.
Right.
It's like premium position,
Right.
He's not going anywhere.
Right. It's not like, and again, they're not tied up against the cap, anything like that. Jeff was just talking about just how well Walker Little's playing in relation, like Cam needs to make sure he matches that. That's in terms of playing time, not roster spot.
Yeah, you got to play well to keep your job, and if you falter and you've had another guy that's been playing pretty well and continues to show good in practice and everything, then he's going to be a little bit quicker to get an opportunity. By the way, going back to Van Lanen.
Mm-hmm.
Tony and I just showed Tony just a second ago, and I've got PFF up, and I read some of their stuff. Some of their stuff I think is way off base, but some of their stuff is interesting. And they come out with the weekly awards in the preseason. And so it's called the NFL Preseason Week 2 PFF Team of the Week and Player Awards. So I'm scrolling down, and I always, of course, first thing I'm looking for is the Jaguars.
Yeah, of course.
Jaguar players make it. And guess who the right tackle is?
Cole Van Lanen. Guess who the punter is? Logan Cook.
Guess who the offensive player of the week is?
Mac Jones.
Cole Van Lanen.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Well, I thought you were going a different direction.
Oh, yeah.
It's just interesting. I mean, but I mean, here's the thing. That kind of stuff is really good for Cole Van Lanen because if he doesn't make it here.
Right.
And also, I mean, that's good because it makes people look, personnel guys in the league will read this.
And then they'll go watch the film.
Because they don't have time to watch every game
Right.
in the preseason, but that will draw some attention to their eyes, especially to a tackle-needy team. And then when you go and they watch the film of Cole Van Lanen, who I said had one of the best games of an offensive lineman for the Jaguars, I mean, they'll see it. He played really well.
Well, let me ask you this then. Is there a trade to be made? Because the Jags are deeper at tackle, right?
Maybe.
Whether it's Cole Van Lanen or somebody else,
Maybe.
even, right? I mean, could you see them saying, we could roll with Walker Little. We feel Cole Van Lanen could be the swing tackle. Could they get something for Cam Robinson? Is it nothing like that?
I think if there's a trade, it would be more than likely Cole Van Lanen being the one going out.
For a late-round pick.
Yeah, because that's how he came in, so you at least, feel good about what you got and what you're getting back in return.
Right.
And he hasn't made the active roster ever since you traded for him. He's been pretty much on the practice squad every year. He was on the active roster for a short period of time that 1 year that you traded for him, but then since then he hasn't really been on the active roster.
All right, let's get back to the lines here. 641-1010 if you want to get in with a question for Jeff Lageman on Check the Tape Tuesday. Kyrie in Virginia is next up. Go ahead, Kyrie.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, Jeff, I had a question because, it kind of piqued my interest. What do you think about the Roy Robertson-Harris situation? He's been playing really deep into the second half of both games, and this is a guy that we paid a lot of money to. Is he potentially on the chopping block?
Well, we addressed it earlier, and just in summary, he had the injury in the offseason, missed a lot of time in the offseason, and so him playing in the preseason games where he's been playing at is just part of the process of getting back to playing speed. I don't think it's anything to be worried about, but I would say that, look, when you are playing a lot, obviously you're not where you need to be, and I don't want to say it's a kick in the pants, but it's just kind of puts you on notice. Hey, look, I've got to do better because I'm not back to where I need to be.
All right, let's get back to the interior of this offensive line. I know, like you said, we haven't seen all five together. Even if we see them against Atlanta, what is it going to tell us? Not necessarily what we're going to get against Miami, right? So we probably have to get into the regular season before we know what the offensive line is going to do. But what does your gut tell you about, let's kind of go through and the projected starting five and tell us how you feel about each one. Let's start with Anton because I think most people feel pretty good about him.
Yeah, I think he's really good. And a healthy shoulder coming out of the preseason, he's going to be, I think, much better than what he was last year. And last year he really put on display, I thought, a clinic for feet. He's got great feet. And he continues to show great feet, but the one thing that he's starting to show this year is the power. And when I say the power to push guys, because, last year with the shoulder injury, you couldn't do it. He was playing the whole year with a significant shoulder injury. So I'm excited about him.
All right, right guard. I'm going to do it by position.
Sure.
That way you could tell me, is it definitely Brandon Sheriff? Who else is a contender?
I think it's definitely Sheriff, but, are there concerns about how strong that Brandon Sheriff is? Yes. But I think this is the last year for Sheriff here. But the one thing that I appreciate about Brandon Sheriff, he's a tough SOB. Always finds a way to be available, even though he gets nicked up a little bit. He had a pretty good core injury a couple years ago, was able to play through it. Dependable, reliable. He's athletic. When you do things where you're moving offensive linemen, whether it be screens or pulling or anything of that nature, he excels. So I feel good about him, but I also feel really good about Cooper Hodges as his backup.
Okay. Center Mitch Morse is obviously the starter there.
Yeah, I think, he's upgraded the position, but it has, have we replaced Fortner with, a long-term solution? No. So I like Mitch Morse because he's a little bit stronger than Fortner, and he obviously has played a lot of games, and he knows how to play all the games. In other words, he's been available. I want to say he's played in like 123 games. He started every 123 of those games. So I like him. He's definitely an upgrade. Is he super strong? No. But I think he's better than Fortner right now. And
okay.
Fortner will probably be your backup. And he's got to continue to work on the strength. And will that happen? I don't know. We'll see.
All right, left guard.
I like Ezra Cleveland. I know a lot of people are kind of up in the air on our offensive line, and some are up in the air on Ezra Cleveland. That's the one guy on the interior that I feel really good about. I'm a little concerned about the injury that he had last week, but I think he's going to be fine. But what I saw last year was he was our best interior offensive lineman last year before they moved him to left tackle for the Cleveland game. And then he got hurt, and then he was never the same. But what I saw in the 2 weeks prior to that Cleveland game, he was the best interior offensive lineman that this team had, and he's got a nastiness to him.
I was going to say, what stood out when you say he was the best? What was it that
strong? He finishes. He's got a little nasty to him. I like it.
All right, left tackle.
It's Cam, but you feel really good about your backup.
Right.
You feel really good about your backup, and I think that Walker Little views himself as a starting left tackle in this league, and he probably will be after this year.
All right, so I don't know how to put it here. Maybe a scale of 1 to 10. What's your concern level that the offensive line is going to be a detriment to the Jags getting where they need to be?
Well, I'll phrase it like this. I have, out of all the position groups on this football team, on the offensive side of the ball, that's the position group that I'm concerned about the most. Okay? Because, offensive line is about consistency. It's about power. It's about moving guys. They talked about at the end of last year the need to get the running game going. This is the group that I am concerned about the most. Now, does that mean that I'm freaking out over it? I'm not freaking out over it, but I'm very concerned about that group.
Well, to your point with the running game, Tank Bigsby was credited either with 100% or all but 1 yard coming after first contact, right?
Yeah,
so he was getting hit.
He was really good.
And he was spinning out. He was powering through arm tackles, doing all those things. But can we get him hit 3 or 4 yards down the field, right? So, granted, you didn't have your full offensive line out there. Bucs certainly didn't have their full defensive unit out there either. When you watch Bigsby's performance, I think watching it, he looked a lot better than the numbers indicate. If you just read 10 for 37, you're like, right.
Yeah.
But I thought he ran well.
Yeah, the eye test was like, hey, that was pretty good game.
But are these guys going to have to perform logs above the X's and O's, so to speak, to have a productive running game for this football team this year?
Well, do they have to be – when you say above the X's and O's?
Bigsby's getting hit. You usually if you're a defensive player, I should be making that tackle at that spot, but he's getting more than what was blocked for on the play.
Yeah, first of all, they got to be better. Just flat out to simplify it, they've got to be better. If they're not better, then I think they're going to struggle at times. It puts a lot of pressure on a passing game. I think Bigsby will help. When I say that, because, last year it was a single running back, and then Travis got kind of wore down a little bit, and Travis is a running back. You like to get him started. Bigsby's a guy that doesn't necessarily have to have a start. In other words, contact, at the line of scrimmages for Bigsby is no big deal. For Etienne, it's a little bit bigger a deal. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just he's a different kind of a back. And Bigsby, I think, can help that. He can help an offensive line. Look, great backs can make offensive lines look a lot better. But the reverse of that works as well, too.
Right, sure. So, what is Bigsby's role on game day in terms of the offensive role? We know last year, obviously, ball security issues, lost confidence in him, what have you. If they're confident in Bigsby, if he's hanging on to the football, if he's playing well, how big of a role does he have on game day?
Big role. Literally, I would say, 40% of the touches are going to go to him, and the 60%, the majority of them will go to Etienne. And I think that they can use a lot of the touches for Etienne in a different fashion, which is more is that, split them out. You can even get both of those guys on the field at the same time, get some great matchups. So I think Bigsby's is a real key to this season in a lot of ways. Number one, that he can help if he's rolling like we've seen and we've gotten glimpses of, okay? And then there's no confidence issues, the ball's secure, all of that's good, right? He's the kind of back that can make an offensive line be better than what they are, number one. Number two, if you're running the ball effectively with two different guys, that makes it hard for the opponent two ways. One, stopping the running game. Number two, play action. The passing game and the deep ball, if you look at the percentage of deep balls and the percentage of the ball getting pushed down the field comes from the play action game. You're running the ball well, you got the ability to have more play action. And now you can all of a sudden utilize the speed of Brian Thomas Jr., the get-deep ability of Gabe Davis, and I think it completely can change the dynamic of this offense if Tank Bigsby is rolling this year for this football team. And because it impacts the running game, it impacts the offensive line, it impacts play action, and it allows this team that has two really good deep guys right now to get deep.
And you convert more third downs to keep the defense fresh. It goes all the way around. All right, halfway through with Jeff Lageman on a Check the Tape Tuesday. I think we've hit on a lot of the offensive line questions that we've had so far, so we'll spread out beyond that to some of the skill guys on offense, beyond Tank Bigsby, and how the defense is shaping up as well as the Jags get ready to take on the Atlanta Falcons this Friday in their preseason finale. You're listening to Jaguars Today. This is a Check the Tape Tuesday on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars
Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
Want more Jags? Subscribe to the 1010XL Jaguars YouTube channel. Looking for more in-depth coverage of the Gators? Subscribe to the 1010XL Gators YouTube channel. Need your FSU fix? Well, subscribe to the 1010XL Seminoles YouTube channel. Your favorite team, one specific location.
Well, all the news forecasts say that home prices are expected to decline in 2025. Hey, that's great if you're buying a home. But if you're selling one, you might want to get to it. And when it comes to selling your home, the agents you should trust are Chad and Sandy Newman at chadandsandy.com. Maybe you want maximum equity from your home, but you're not sure how. And you don't want to worry about costly repairs or upgrades needed to sell your home. Those things are all out with Chad and Sandy. They're the local real estate experts you can trust, and I recommend for the sale of your home, or for the sale of mine for that matter. Maybe I should look into it. Hey, don't trust me. Trust Jacqueline from Biscayne Estates. My inherited home became a nightmare when it went unsold for 177 days and ended up with a large lien. With expenses mounting for my handicapped daughter and no way to pay, I was desperate. At this point, I turned to Chad and Sandy. The change was amazing. Chad and Sandy sold my home in 3 days at a higher than asking price. Find out for yourself at chadandsandy.com or 904-414-6200.
This is Tony Baselli, Pro Football Hall of Famer. I was known for protecting our quarterback. These days, I'm extending that protection to a different arena, your home. I have partnered with Heritage Roofing of North Florida, your premier local roofers with over 25 years of experience. Heritage is your go-to roofer for hurricane preparation, with same-day inspections and estimates. They also work with all insurance companies. Let Heritage Roofing of North Florida safeguard your home and family. Visit heritagenfl.com for your free estimate today.
State license CCC 1335410.
Hey, David again with Royal Pest Services. TAP Insulation stands for thermal, acoustic, and pest control. Keep your home cool, noise out, and pests dead. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to schedule a free inspection.
Spend lunchtime with the ladies.
Hey, where's your sense of adventure?
They don't cook, but they serve up spicy sports talk.
Sure, it's on the menu.
Helmets and heels.
That is a meal.
Switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans on 1010XL.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Clean air, cool air, both are extremely important. Trust Florida Home AC to deliver on both with their Remy Halo, the next generation of air quality technology. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and breathe clean and cool air.
Navy Mutual was created by service members for service members, so we know what it means to serve. Our policies have no active duty service restrictions, so you can rest assured that you're covered no matter your duty station, home or abroad. To go even further, we promise that premiums will not be higher for those who serve in dangerous environments, including aviation, diving, or on deployments. Let us help you protect those you love the most. Learn more at NavyMutual.org.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Brian Wall here. Would you take your paycheck, go to the bank, cash it, and then simply throw it up in the air? I didn't think so. But in a way, over the years, that is exactly what you're doing if you have old or builder-grade windows in your home. Even if you have a brand new home, those windows are not the best windows you can have to save on your energy bills. Window World has sold millions of replacement windows to homeowners like you, and Window World's customer satisfaction is the highest in the business. Please check Window World out yourself and save on your new windows and on your energy bills. Compare with other companies and you'll see Window World is simply the best for less. It's up to you. You can call Window World and get a free estimate, get the best guarantee in the window replacement business, save money on your new windows, and save more on your energy bills. Call Window World today at 904-443-7001 or go online to windowworldneflorida.com. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about letting things roll off of your back. So often we can make big deals out of things that are not really big deals. We can allow them to steal the joy of our day. But let me remind you that don't allow anyone or anything to steal the joy of today. Go out today not letting little things steal the big things that God has in store for you.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
Here's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, sponsored by Chad and Sandy Real Estate. Gator head coach Billy Napier remains confident about the progress of running back Montrell Johnson.
Montrell's doing fantastic. He's been able to do a few things. We expect him to be able to participate in practice.
SEC Network contributor and Gator alum Chris Doring believes the return of quarterback Graham Mertz is significant for the Gators.
I thought Graham Mertz ended up being one of the top 5 transfer portal guys in this conference last season. The fact that you get him back again and learn from what they didn't do well and the way they utilized him last year. The intent in the spring was to push the ball down the field a little bit more.
FSU wideout Malik Benson, having transferred from Alabama, feels he brought leadership to the Noles.
Like in the receiver room, we really didn't have a designated leader, but I took that upon myself.
That's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm Sam Nelson.
At 10:55, it's 83 degrees. Time at 10 brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Any way you want it, that's the way you need it. Any way you want it.
Jeff Lageman Tuesday is serviced by Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
All right, Pitch Perfect 2. If you know the movie, you know what I'm talking about right here.
The what? What movie?
Pitch Perfect 2. Love it. I don't care.
don't
you
know
don't
that
like
movie.
it's about a cappella singers.
Okay.
Right? And they go to like the world competition, and this is the song that every group sings.
Is there such a thing?
I'm sure there is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean there are all kinds of a cappella competitions all over the place.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just I'm not like going to them or anything like that. But yeah, I would imagine there are all kinds of competitions for just about anything.
Probably
these
right.
days. Logs, Tim Jones, people are skeptical, okay, for this reason. They think, is his impact so great on special teams? Could you not replicate it with another player that would have more positional value beyond that, be it a wide receiver, defensive back, whatever, that they feel like we're not getting enough out of Tim Jones just with the special teams value because he contributes nothing as a receiver? Your response to that?
Pretty damn good on special teams. And here's the thing. It's not like he's a throwaway wide receiver. I mean, he's very dependable, can play all the positions. He's reliable.
But he's never really, I mean, statistically, they've never really utilized him.
Oh, you don't have to
much.
I mean, and that's that role. You know what I mean? So when you look at game day and that position, that wide receiver, it's very similar to and I don't want to say he's as good as this guy on special teams, but the really good special teams player from the Patriots that just retired.
Slater.
I'm not saying they're all the same level, not even close, but I mean, it's that type of a player, and that you're not looking to have a significant amount of offensive production. You're looking for, and not that you would be upset if you could get it, but most importantly, you're looking for somebody that can play teams, and that if there is an injury to one of your wide receivers, that you have somebody that you can trust, and he fills both of those categories.
So I guess what I'm trying to get in the head of people asking this, because I do get a lot of questions about this, right? Like, is there another guy, like who would the most comparable guy take away what he does as a wide receiver? Because I think what people are saying is, if it would cost us
Daniel
a guy,
Thomas.
So if you do you need both? Like, I'm not saying you don't want both, but is what Tim Jones does so irreplaceable that his spot is basically cemented on this roster?
It's not irreplaceable because everybody's replaceable, but you'd have to finding a wide receiver that can play special teams is not easy to do.
But does it have to be a wide receiver, I think, is what they're asking. Like, if we could keep a guy who has a higher ceiling,
you got to
have
it be a wide receiver.
It has to be a wide receiver.
It's got to be a wide receiver just from a numbers game on game day. That position at wide receiver has to play special teams. If you can find a wide receiver that can play special teams better than Tim Jones and then play wide receiver better than Tim Jones, then you replace Tim Jones. But you're not replacing Tim Jones with a Daniel Thomas, another safety. Let's say you had another safety named Daniel Thomas II. Just to be fun here, then that would not take the roster spot of Tim Jones, because you got to have that wide receiver on game day, somebody that can step in the case of emergency type of situation, because what you're talking about is the fifth wide receiver on game day or the sixth wide receiver on game day.
We were talking about earlier, Tony brought up Parker Washington. Would he be active on game day? Would he not be active on game day? He seems like
he's active.
He's active, regardless.
Yeah, you're going to be light at running back. And you've been light at running back in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the position I think that you're going to be light on. I mean, you're going to have three guys.
So you're going to have six receivers up on game day then?
Yeah. Six receivers up, three tight ends, and three running backs.
Okay, but that they've been a three running back.
Two quarterbacks, and then you're looking at 7 offensive linemen.
But haven't they
Maybe
been?
8.
I mean, they've always been three running. If you're adding, haven't they been a team that's basically been 5 wide receivers active on game day, right? Last year you would have had Kirk and Ridley and Jones when they're healthy, and Agnew and Tim Jones.
Yeah, you're about the same last year, right? I mean, because Agnew essentially is what Duvernay is.
Right, so that was 5,
about
though.
The same.
I'm saying, so if Parker Washington's active, who's that taken away from? Because they had 3 running backs active on game day last year.
No, but I mean, the wide receivers, it's the same as what it was last year.
No, not if you have Parker Washington active.
You always had a wide receiver that was active up with Tim Jones. You had 5 active on, or 6 active on game day.
You always had 6
I thought you had 6
I think you had 5. I think in a lot of cases.
I was looking at it. Like Elijah Cooks would be active some of those game days.
It was either Elijah or Parker. It kind of alternate.
Yeah. And Parker came in once Christian got hurt, which is when it made sense for him to be active. I do think the second return man is interesting, right? Because it does make Parker more viable for that kind of position to be active on game day this year.
You could also do that with Tank.
Right. Tank can return kicks just as well from what we've seen, in this preseason. I do wonder still how locked in it is that Parker Washington is going to be active on game day, because he is kind of the 6th guy in that decision, because you're going to have Duvernay and Jones active because of what Jones does on all 4 of your special teams units, as opposed to Parker, who can be your second kick returner, right? Would they feel better about putting the actives together, saying, all right, we don't have Parker today, we got Tank if we need a second return man?
Yeah, and you could. And here's the other thing. A lot of times you would have a return guy that was on the defensive side of the ball. There's not a return guy on the defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's none. I mean, they've had Braswell back there, but Braswell's not a returner. I think that's more of like, hey, in case of emergency, we need a guy back there, then maybe he can go back there. But it's not what he's going to do, So I think that from that aspect, I think it's 6 wide receivers this year.
Yeah, active on game day.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, this one from Ed on X or Twitter. Would you consider using 2 back sets with ETN and Tank? Would that help with the short yardage woes? Would that complicate reads for the defense as to what you're doing with the ball, and on occasion even having Tank act as a lead blocker? What do you think about any of that?
So to answer that kind of twofold, one, do I think that having the 2-back system, yes, I like the 2-back system, but not necessarily for short yardage. Could it help in certain short yardage situations because the defense is not going to know who is exactly getting the ball? Absolutely. You can mix it up and make a little bit of indecisiveness on a defense when you have 2 backs that are doing that are both capable of carrying the ball. I think the real benefit to having Tank and ETN on the field at the same time is how dynamic you can be about matching up a linebacker on a back or on ETN, to be specific.
In the passing game?
In the passing game.
Yeah.
And that's a real mismatch. But most importantly, the short yards, in order for the short yardage to get better, the back's got to hit it, and then you got to get push up front. That's how you convert the short yardage stuff.
How has Brian Thomas Jr. done as a blocker from what you've seen?
Yeah, okay. I mean, that's something that I think is always going to be a work in progress, because it's not something that was expected of great wide receivers in college. And you can pretty much say that across the board. But the good thing is that you've got a culture of blocking in that room already that exists, with Christian Kirk being a willing blocker. Last year, Zay Jones being a willing blocker. Gabe Davis is a willing blocker, and he's a big blocker. He can be very physical. So it may be a little bit of a work in progress, but I think because of the culture that exists in that room, it will happen.
The Jaguars have made a roster move. They have waived wide receiver Brevin Easton. The team announced here just a couple of minutes ago.
That's what you get for catching a touchdown, right? I mean, all you do, you get 2 targets, 2 catches, touchdown. See you later.
Yeah, well, the question is if they waived him, what are they doing?
What's the corresponding move?
Exactly.
Right. You're always trying to improve your team, right? And somebody asked, who's responsible for scouting these guys? Well, the pro personnel department, scouts.
They got a lot of people, by the way, in the scouting
department. Polk is the director of pro scouting, but there's a contingent that scouts the college guys, contingents that keeps their eye on the pro guys, so when guys become available, whatever. So what do you think about the Jags? Like, if they were to make a move, do you think if they were – like, people obviously, again, so much focus on the interior of the offensive line, right? But I think they have their starting 5 set. So what's the likelihood that they make a move for depth or anything along those lines? Is this a position group you think you could see some movement at?
You could. I mean, they did it last year with Ezra.
Mm-hmm.
So I would never say that something like that couldn't happen because if you look at the last couple of years, I mean, Cole Van Lanen was brought in a trade. Ezra Cleveland was brought in a trade. So I don't think that I think it could happen again because I think that's an area that, like I said before, on that side of the ball, that's the one concern that I have. On the defensive side of the ball, could that happen for any other positions? It could happen edge rushers aren't available. So you just kind of throw that one out the window. It's like quarterback. You're not getting guy at that position at this stage of the game. But you could end up getting a corner. Is that a position of need for this football team? I think there's a lot of, when I said that the offensive line is kind of my one position on offense that I'm concerned about, the one position I'm concerned about the most on defense is cornerback.
To what level is your concern?
Not quite as high as the offensive line, but it's pretty close. And the reason I say that, I don't think that like they're bad players or anything, but it's just they haven't proven anything. They haven't proven anything yet. There's a lot of unknowns with that group. I mean, you got some new components in the back end, and then you've got some young components in the back end that haven't proven themselves yet. So for me, that's bears worth watching.
All right, let's go through the group while we got a minute here.
Okay.
Tyson and Darby open up as your starters on the outside.
Right.
Right. Darnell Savage, if he's healthy, and he got the red no contact jersey off yesterday.
Clear to go.
So he's your nickel back?
Yeah.
Okay. Braswell's on this team, right?
I don't know.
Really?
I don't know.
All right. He's had a good camp. Jarian Jones is on this team.
Let me say this about Braswell. Been okay. I don't want to say he's had a great camp.
Okay. Jarian Jones.
Love him.
Okay. Obviously.
Love his
draft pick
attitude.
as well. Trey Prince.
Love him. Like more than Jarian Jones.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and they're different players. But I think DeAndre Prince is a future starting cornerback in this league. I mean, you watch this guy play man, because, look, that's the ultimate – that's the deal. If you can do that in this league, you're going to play a long time. DeAndre Prince can play man. He's got speed. He's got hips. He's – I don't want to say effortless, because nothing's effortless, but it just looks easier for him than other guys.
Okay, what about Monteric Brown?
Okay.
On the bubble,
okay,
maybe?
Well, I don't know if he's
not guaranteed to be on the roster?
Yeah, no, I don't think he's guaranteed.
How many corners do you think they keep? You mentioned 5 that you really like in that. You didn't say the same for Braswell or Brown.
Typically, you're looking at about 10 defensive backs, right?
But that includes safeties.
Right.
Right. And I've seen a lot of projections with 7 corners on this team. They're going to keep more than 3 safeties.
So Johnson, Cisco, Thomas would be 3 of those safeties. Wingard's going to be whatever the deal is going to be at the beginning of the year.
Wingard won't take a roster spot.
Right.
He will go to one of those 2 IR spots that you can use where you can bring him back.
Sure.
So essentially, it's a free roster spot.
But if they keep 10, that gets us to 8 that you have expressed that you really like at this point. So who would the other 2 spots be?
What about Trey Flowers?
Probably practice squad. You know, he's one of those guys you're not sure about. You know, he's in that same category for me as a Braswell. You know, like not sure.
Not sure because of how he's performed in the preseason, because he did play under Nielsen in Atlanta.
Right.
So I would think he has a pretty good feel for what he's capable of doing.
They brought him in for a reason, but, you know, I mean, there's always the debate, you know, because when you look at Flowers versus a young guy, Flowers, you kind of know where he is versus a young guy, where's the ceiling at? You know, some people believe they got a higher ceiling, you know, but with a proven guy like a Flowers, he's got a higher proven floor, you know, so it's
you
a
did
great
say
debate.
they're in win now mode.
That's a great debate.
Right. What about Terrell Edmonds?
He's more of a strong safety, and I think he's got some limitations in space. And I don't think that's the way you like to play this defense. I think that you like to flip-flop your safeties, and he's a veteran guy, so if he makes the active roster, he's going to be guaranteed. Put it this way. If you felt great about Edmonds, I don't know if you necessarily would have brought in the veteran guy that's going to be facing a 6-week suspension.
Yeah, but I mean, you still got to bridge those 6 weeks, right?
Correct.
All right, so you know if you do have,
you can bridge it with a corner, a younger player that maybe doesn't cost you as much. That maybe and maybe we're talking about 10, right? So Wingard's not counted in that equation. So maybe you end up, and if you count Savage as a safety, so there's your 4 safeties, and then you got to figure out 6 defensive backs. But Savage is really kind of a nickel, So
that's what they intend
debate
to play him as. He played safety up in Green Bay,
right?
More
Safety
than
and nickel is what he plays.
Yeah. All right. Well, so
but I mean, those guys.
Your concern is what more with this group? You said they haven't shown it, right? There's a lot of youth.
There's a lot of youth and a lot of unknowns, and they haven't played together. If you look at the Jaguars' other position groups. I mean, you look at edge. Okay, well, we got 2 really good guys. Trevis Gibson's the 3rd. We're okay there. Would it nice to have Trevis Gibson as your 4th edge player? Yes. Okay, but you've also got some young guys there that maybe Cole, maybe a chance draft pick, probably practice squad. Defensive tackle, you're loaded. I mean, loaded at defensive tackle, and I consider Armstead a defensive tackle. But you look at that position, and you got Mason Smith, Armstead, Roy Robertson-Harris, Tyler Lacey, Jordan Jefferson, Devon Hamilton. I mean, that's going to be the toughest cut on this football team is defensive tackle, in my opinion. And I think you're only keeping the 3 edge guys that I mentioned. So now you're looking at, and I would put Eric Armstead as a defensive tackle, even though he's going to be playing some strong side end. But let's just say that you've got 3 edge guys and Armstead's a defensive tackle. I think you're going to be 7 defensive tackles.
What about guys like Speaks or Tomowo who, they flashed when playing in the preseason. They're getting to the quarterback. Any chance for either one of them to make the 53?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Practice squad,
maybe.
maybe.
Speaks is a guy that
we're going to have 50 guys on the practice squad, by the way. I don't know if anyone notices.
Do I think that they're either one of those guys are practice squad? I mean, no.
So you just think let him go?
I mean, you're going to be deep at the defensive tackle position anyway. So, I mean, maybe you got room for one guy there. So maybe a Otomewo. But
2.5 sacks in 2 games.
I know.
Pretty good.
I know. But who are you going to look at the other defensive tackles? Who are you going to get rid of to keep him?
Oh, I hear you. I think people are wondering about Roy Robertson-Harris. You think he's on the roster, though. Tyler Lacey considered a defensive tackle or defensive end?
He's a defensive tackle.
Okay.
Big, strong dude. Former draft pick. It's going to be interesting at that position. I mean, Tyler Lacey's a big, strong man. Jordan Jefferson is just, played a lot the other night, and you can tell that he's working his way back. But if you had to, those 2 guys are kind of the closest to being very similar as far as the skill set that they have. And if I had to make a decision between one of those 2, knowing that Jordan Jefferson is just coming back from an ankle, I'm taking Jordan Jefferson.
Yeah, well, again, you get the draft capital investment this year.
But ignoring the draft capital with both of them, I'm taking Jordan Jefferson.
Well, Jefferson, you're comparing him to Lacey. Jefferson's listed as 6'3", 316. Lacey's listed as 6'4", 279. So
Lacey's not 279.
Okay, I don't know what he is, but
he's 320 plus.
320 plus.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
that's a misprint.
Oh, all right. All I can go by is what they tell me here. You're not hopping on the scale for me.
I would bet a lot of money that he's not 279.
He may not be 279. I don't know if he's 320.
He's 320
either.
Every bit of it.
We'll see. Let's see what the Jags list meant. That was Our Lads, by the way.
Oh, Our Lads is way off.
The Jaguars official website, 6'4", 279. Tyler Lacey.
That's probably what he weighed coming in.
That's my guess.
It might have been his freshman year.
Yeah, I don't think they redo it ever.
They might not.
Yeah, I think whatever you are your rookie year, when you come into the league, they just leave it.
Yeah, he's a 310, 15-plus guy all day long.
All right, we got a break. We'll come back. More Check the Tape Tuesday with Jeff Lageman straight ahead. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today. You're at the home of the Jaguars in the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, 1010XL takes you inside the program director's office with Dan and Jeff.
I want to be good. Good.
Mornings.
Very good.
You've got to be joking. On 1010XL.
Did you know you can charge the all-new Honda Electric Prologue in the same receptacle as your phone? You don't need these special charging stations at your home. Simply plug in your Honda or your phone. See your local Honda dealer now. We're electrified.
Nick in here for Bout 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bout 9. Visit Bout 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bout 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
This is Hayes Carline for Kingfish Pest Control, a local family-owned business that's been chosen as the exclusive pest control provider for the brand new state-of-the-art Miller Electric Performance Center. As a Kingfish customer myself, I know their effectiveness in keeping spiders, roaches, bugs, and termites out. When I trust them for my family and the Jags trust them for their business, then you can too. For the best service in town, call my friends at Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwood Jewelers. Clayton, you have told us about the importance of cutting a diamond properly and how it relates back to beauty and value. But how do you judge the color of a diamond?
Frank, that's an important question when it comes to diamonds. You see, a man or a woman really have no color memory. Now, you can remember basic colors like blue or red, but considering we can see thousands of slight variations of the same color, you have to have a master color to relate these two. Anybody that's ever tried to match a paint color on a wall knows exactly what I'm talking about. So we judge the color of diamonds using a set of certified master diamonds from the American Gem Society. This is the only way you can really make an accurate call on the grade because these slight variations in color from colorless to very slight yellow have huge price differences.
That's at Underwood's, where diamonds are graded accurately in San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra.
This is Corona Premier. It's the light beer you didn't know was a light beer. Until right, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Now, Corona Premier, an unexpectedly light beer.
Tony Baselli gets up early Monday morning to share a big football breakfast with you.
Some French toast and sausage patties.
Hall of Fame Monday, 7:20 with Dan and Jeff on the Drill. Brought to you by Heritage Roofing of North Florida on 1010XL.
The saying goes, the grass is greener on the other side. Well, that is actually true if your neighbor installed artificial turf. Lauren Brooks here from my friends at Sunshine Turf, a family-owned local company that will take your backyard dreams and turn them into a reality. Caleb can design anything from putting greens to pet runs, and if you have a pool, you'll definitely love maintenance-free turf around it. Visit sunshineturf.info to get a free quote today. Sunshine Turf. That's sunshineturf.info.
With deep pockets and huge resources, truck companies may think they can get away with a small settlement after an accident. But at Farah & Farah, our team isn't afraid to go toe-to-toe with them, to fight for every penny you're entitled to under the law. If you've been in a truck accident, call Farah & Farah. Put our big truck experience to work for you. Jacksonville.
Right now, they're on their way to ruin your day. Don't bother calling the police. They can't help. And if you're not prepared, you will suffer. Yes, it's that time of the year. Heat and humidity are attacking North Florida. But help is at hand. Call Mike Merritt's Heating and Air Conditioning. Mike Merritt has a license to chill and lets you maintain your comfort zone at a bargain price. How? Mike Merritt stands ready to help, routine or emergencies. And Mike Merritt knows emergencies can happen at any time. So with Mike, there's never any overtime charges. And Mike's team works without commissions. Merritt will never try to sell you parts you don't need. You can't trust just anyone with a truck. Call Mike Merritt, the company North Florida has trusted for 35 years. Call today. License number CAC 050384.
Hey, this is Bert Cannon with the First Coast YMCA. Youth sports at the Y can help nurture your future athlete's potential and experience the joy of being a kid. At the Y, we're providing a safe, clean, and fun environment with basketball, soccer, volleyball, gymnastics, elite skills training, and more. Best of all, participation in Legacy Youth Sports League is free with your family membership. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
What U.S. state is closest to Africa? The answer coming up.
With storm season blowing wind and rain, it's even more critical to protect your valuable assets with a policy from Southern Oak Insurance. Ask your agent about Southern Oak today.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The closest state to Africa isn't Florida, as most people think, but it's actually Maine.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Check the Tape Tuesday with Jeff Lageman is brought to you by Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
Just a brief reminder on not to get too caught up in depth charts at all at this time of year. For instance, Jags put out a new one today. Brevin Easton was third team at wide receiver ahead of the likes of Austin Trammell, Denzel Mims, Joshua Cephas. Those guys are still on the roster. Brevin Easton has been released. So, I mean, you know, it just take it with a major lump of salt right now. We'll get more into this depth chart here, at least from Jeff Lageman's perspective in a moment. But first, Tony Smith's going to take us around the NFL.
Now, Gems Around the NFL, brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Indianapolis has placed center Ryan Cole on IR. Miami Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel told reporters yesterday that Odell Beckham Jr. is not expected to return to practice this week for the Dolphins. Dolphins corner Cam Smith is week-to-week with a hamstring injury, and wide receiver Willie Snead has been placed on IR. Buffalo wide receiver Marquez Valdez-Scantling and quarterback Mitch Trubisky are expected to miss multiple weeks. MVS with a neck injury, Trubisky with a knee injury. Bills wide receiver Curtis Samuels week-to-week with turf toe. Bills head coach Sean McDermott announced yesterday that he will hold the starters out of their third preseason game. They had originally planned on playing them, but with all the injuries they're dealing with, he's decided not to. Cincinnati has placed running back Chris Evans and offensive tackle Deontay Smith on their injured reserve list, and Washington has named Jaden Daniels as their starter for week 1 of the regular season.
Shocker, that.
Yeah.
All right, Logs, let's get into it. Chad Muma, Ventrell Miller. What'd you see from them on film this week?
Ventrell continues to play pretty well. Wish he didn't have a couple of the missed tackles that he had, but given the club related, given the club that's on his left hand, it's understandable. Muma's solid. I don't think, in my opinion, Muma's kind of that. What the role that he is now is kind of what's going to be his role for his career. Kind of that backup swing kind of guy, dependable. I don't know if he's necessarily a frontline guy. He's one of those guys that if he is a frontline guy, you're always trying to do a little bit better.
Okay.
Athletically. But he maximizes his abilities, though, which there's nothing wrong with that.
What did you see from Mason Smith on film this week?
Okay. I still want to see him kind of cut loose a little bit. You can tell that, when you watch him in one-on-one in the drill work, he's like, whoa, it's unstoppable at times. And then in the game, you can tell that he's still thinking a little bit, and so he's not playing as fast or as violent, and sometimes doesn't see where the ball is, and that part of it's going to come, I think, with time. But he's such a big, strong guy and moves the pocket. He's going to be, I think, a bit of a work in progress, but I think he's still going to give this team some very strong play.
Is he, like, when Doug talks about having a wave of 8 defensive linemen,
he's in it.
He's in that.
Oh, yeah, he's
group.
in it.
Okay, just checking. Mac Jones, right, played well.
Yeah.
Right, so I think he had pretty much solidified the spot by the time CJ came in. I think that was the way they were going to go the whole time. But,
yes.
Obviously it was good for him to emphatically outplay him. Here's where I stand. I'm a heartbeat away. People have speculated, man, teams are going to be coming to the Jags and trying to get Mac Jones if they have quarterback issues, and that may be the case. But if you're the Jags, right, having invested a 6th-round pick in Mac Jones, he is the guy right now. Your third stringer is hurt. But even if C.J. Beathard were able to get healthy by the start of the season, what would it take? What kind of offer would it take from another team for you to go, you know what? I will give up my backup quarterback for that kind of draft pick capital.
For me?
Yes, for you.
If I was a GM?
Yes.
Probably a 2nd-round pick.
That's what I'm thinking.
I'd
have to think long and hard about a third.
Well, you're probably going to get you might possibly get a third as compensatory.
A year further down
next year.
The road.
Correct. So, and that's a kind of a big if.
That's a big if he gets a big deal and you don't have a contract to signing that offsets it as well. So
anything less than that, no thank you, because I need to win now.
Right.
And I need a backup that I can continue to run my offense like our starters in.
There's no telling what teams are going to offer you. A couple of years ago, the Bears gave a pick that ended up being the 32nd pick in the draft for Chase Claypool, for goodness sakes, right? So, teams do crazy things. I'm not saying that they don't.
They do stupid things sometimes.
But early in the offseason, any team could have had Mac Jones for a 5th-round pick. Clearly, the Jags got him for a 6th, so New England would have, we'll take a 5th. That's better, right?
Right.
Unless maybe a divisional opponent or something like that.
There's some teams that should be embarrassed for not acquiring Mac Jones.
And maybe they should be, right? But, how much is it realistic to think that their evaluation changed from, okay, we won't give a 5th now, but now we'll give a 2nd-round pick? I see that, especially because Mac Jones is in the final year of his deal.
Yeah, I don't.
He had
I
a
don't
couple
see
of
it
years of
happening.
team control,
and he's not. He's it takes some time to get up to speed in the scheme that he goes to. So I mean, that's a little bit of a factor that would weigh towards the negative side of that.
He had some nice throws, I thought, on Saturday.
He had some outstanding throws. The 2 balls for touchdowns were things of beauty.
And the one to Duvernay on 3rd and 15, I thought was outstanding as well.
It was a rocket into a very tight window. I also liked the throw on the 3rd down to Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah,
where
and the 3rd down where Cooks dropped it.
The one to Cook, which was a very small window too. The one that he missed Elijah Cook, he'd like to have back. There was some pocket management things by Mac that weren't pretty, like the sack that he took.
Right, he feels like he runs into his own guys a little too much. He's a little bit, like heavy-footed at times.
He's not athletic like Trevor.
No, but, then you see him on the practice field, and every once in a while, like he breaks containment, and he's not slow.
No.
You know what I mean? But he's not quick, right? There's, I think, if you were to race Mac Jones, you'd probably be surprised that he's got better long speed than you would think. But the quickness to get, in that short area, I think he struggles with that.
I would say that he's not the most athletic when he's running the ball. So, like in a straight line race, he'd be pretty good. But if you had to take him through an obstacle course, he could take him.
But, in terms of having a backup,
excited to have him, though. Man.
Right?
That's a really good backup.
Big improvement over what they've had.
I mean, look, I'm a big fan of Trevor, and I'm a big fan of Mac Jones because I think this is, Mark Brunell is a really good quarterback, and I'm not trying to slight him in any way, but because you go to the Mark Brunell, Rob Johnson quarterback room, it was pretty good. Mm-hmm. But this is the best quarterback room that this team has had in a long time.
In a long time. Right. That's fair to say. All right. We'll come back. We got a final segment on a Check the Tape Tuesday. We'll see if we can clean up any other questions lingering out there for Jeff Lageman and get some thoughts looking ahead to what Jeff wants to see from the Jags on Friday night against the Atlanta Falcons in the preseason finale. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. You know what? I'm just going to make your mouth water right now just describing some of the great offerings. If you swing into a gate station, you're driving around right now, you're like, man, got to get a little fuel or I just need a little AC in there, and swing in and pull into the fresh case and belly up and just check out all the great variety that Dandy has to offer. Fantastic sandwiches and subs, great lunchtime items like the hot roast beef and provolone, the Italian combo that'll melt in your mouth, and all white meat spicy buffalo chicken, and of course the big old classic 100% beef juicy cheeseburger. All of those options I mentioned served on fresh ciabatta bread, which is baked locally and delivered daily around the First Coast. Highest quality ingredients, locally sourced as often as possible. That's a big part of the Thompson family's credo when it comes to Dandy and the Anytime Deli line. And the Thompson family is a Jacksonville family that founded this company nearly 70 years ago. When you're hungry in Duval, do what I do. Go out and make yours a Dandy, and do it today.
Jaguars Today. From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
Do the Garber Wiggle, Garber Wiggle, Wiggle Wiggle, Garber Wiggle.
At Garber Auto Mall, we can wiggle it. Best price, we can wiggle it. Best trade value, we can wiggle it. Best payment, we can wiggle it. Ford, Chevy, Buick, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. With 8 American brands, we can wiggle it. Visit us in Green Cove Springs or online at GarberAutomall.com. And remember, at Garber Auto Mall, there's always a little room for wiggle.
Do the Garber Wiggle, Garber Wiggle, Wiggle Wiggle, Garber Wiggle.
Prosser here. Hey, pick a news source. But the reports are home prices are expected to decline in 2025, even after the election. So you need to maximize your home sales price now before this downturn, and you can do it with the agents proven to sell for top dollar, Chad and Sandy Newman. Hey, perhaps you're worried about selling for less money with a lowball out-of-state instant offer, or maybe you want maximum equity from your home, but you're not sure how. That's why you turn to Chad and Sandy, who have the answers. No required costly repairs. Chad and Sandy are the local real estate experts I trust and recommend for the sale of your home. Tony and Maggie at Jack's Golf and Country Club said, we recently had a job transfer and we needed to sell fast. With homes in our area struggling to sell inside 100 days, we didn't know what to do. Our worries were solved when we hired Chad and Sandy. Our home sold in 3 days for one of the highest prices ever in our neighborhood at over $1 million. Call the local experts we trust, 904-414-6200 or ChadAndDSandy.com.
Bug City AC, keeping you cool. Feeling the heat
Jacksonville, cool down with Bold City Heating and Air. From repairs to energy-efficient installs, we do it all. Family-owned and trusted since 2016, we offer clear pricing, NATE-certified techs, and unbeatable service. Call Bold City Heating and Air today and experience the bold difference.
Bold City AC, keeping you cool. Bold City AC.
Visit boldcityac.com.
Here come Rock and Roll Hall of Famers. Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. The Last Encores. Saturday, February 1st at Florida Theater. Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. Tickets on sale now at floridatheater.com. Don't miss Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons live.
Are you tired of living with constant pain from torn ligaments or nagging tendinitis and bothersome joint pain? Say goodbye to endless medications and invasive surgeries. Go BioTarget Regenerative Treatment is available only at injury care centers. Their innovative approach helps you recover faster and get back to doing what you love without drugs or surgery. Don't just treat the symptoms, target the root cause with BioTarget. Visit GoBioTarget.com to learn more and schedule your appointment today.
It's about the hunt.
Captain Kevin Favor here with Captain Kirk and Jeff Lageman.
We take you from the water to the woods.
On the Nimnicht Outdoors Show. Presented by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning.
Let's go to the woods, y'all.
Saturday mornings from 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
Certainly facing challenging economic times. I can't speak for all of us, but for me, comforting to know my money is in good hands with ITP Partners. Ticket here for ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. I'll admit it, I don't understand a ton about the economy. Higher interest rates, 401ks, but I do know as I move closer to retirement, I continue to watch my money grow. Thanks to Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, and Reed Wingate. Get in the game, guys. ITP Partners, always there to help. For more info, Chris at ITPPartners.com or call 904-312-9751.
Come to Monahan Jewelers store-wide 50 to 60% off sale going on now for a very limited time. Everything on display is 50 to 60% off at Monahan Jewelers. We've bought so much brand new jewelry, we need to make room for it. Diamond jewelry, engagement semi-mounts, colored gemstones, even gold chains. Right now, everything on display at Monahan Jewelers is 50 to 60% off. Jewelry's going quick, so come to Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. Hurricanes happen in Florida. That's not news. But what happens even more often than hurricanes are home break-ins. And if security is important to you, you might want to look into hurricane-rated impact windows.
What you may not know is that hurricane-rated impact windows not only help protect your home in case of a hurricane, but they also offer another level of security for your home.
Have you seen those videos on YouTube that show people trying to break through an impact window? A thief is way too lazy to spend his energy trying to break through one of our impact windows. That's why he doesn't have a real job like you. He'd rather break your non-impact window while you're at work. Window World has high-quality, very affordable hurricane-rated impact windows to help protect your home from hurricanes and from lazy thieves.
Call us today at 904-443-7001. Get a free estimate and see for yourself. You save energy, get more security, and the windows add value to your home. With all Window World windows, you get the best guarantee in the window replacement business.
Window
World, simply the best for less.
And thank you for your business.
Storms are part of every season. Make sure you're protected. Call American Electrical to make sure you have the best in surge protection. Don't lose your home electronics to a lightning strike. Call 737-7770 for American Electrical.
Firehouse Subs, Hook and Ladder jingle, take one.
Hook and ladder, when it's hot, it just tastes better. Warm that smoky turkey, that thin slice.
Guys, this is a 30-second ad. You gotta sing faster.
Hook and ladder, when it's hot, it just tastes better. Melty cheese and toast bread, mustard, mayo, purpose bread, lettuce, green, and onion. The sandwich is too big for the song. It's too big.
The Hook and Ladder, available only at participating Firehouse Subs restaurants.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Wide receiver Parker Washington has stood out in both preseason games, making big plays. Washington caught all three of his targets for 38 yards and secured a touchdown during Saturday's game against the Buccaneers.
Coach Doug Peterson spoke yesterday on Washington being a bright spot in camp.
It's valuable. I mean, you look at the last 5 games last year when Christian missed, and he got all the work there. I think he got a lot of confidence and gained confidence. He's stronger, this year. He looks faster, quicker, all of that. And, he's just making the most of his opportunities and doing a nice job in the return game as well. And he's been, as we've said, he's been one of the bright spots of camp.
Sound courtesy of Jaguars.com. I'm Molly McDonald with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars Update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
All right, coming up in a moment, we'll look ahead to Friday night and what we want to see out of the Jags, at least what Jeff Lageman wants to see as they perform against the Atlanta Falcons. And the starters expected to go about a half, according to Doug Peterson speaking yesterday here. Logs, as we continue the final segment here on a Check the Tape Tuesday, Andrew asks a two-headed question about the identity of the defense, the identity of the offense. What's the calling card, or what do they want it to be on each side of the ball this year?
Well, I think offense is very similar to what you have been in the last 2 years, but stronger in the running game to enable some more play action.
So when you say what you have been in the last 2 years, balanced, what do you?
Well, this is a pass-first offense. And last year when you had some injuries that were slowing your passing game, you couldn't pick up the slack any other way. Short yardage, running the ball. And so I think that they would like to have a little bit more balance with the offense this year. Defensively, I think it's going to be an interesting watch. They want to be fast, which, you keep hearing Ryan Nielsen talk about we want to play fast and we want to be aggressive, we want to be forward moving. But, if you listen to every defensive coordinator, I mean, pretty much that's a very similar mindset, no matter what's the 3-4 or the scheme or anything. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to play that. But if you had to go back and you had to, say, okay, what defense in the past are we looking at to compare it to? I mean, similar to, the Legion of Boom. This is kind of where the roots of Ryan Nielsen come from. That 4-3, put your hands on receivers, play aggressive in coverage as far as, at the line of scrimmage, and then, pin your ears back and get after the quarterback. That's the style of defense that Ryan Nielsen wants to be.
They had some big-time performers in that secondary, too. So,
and that's why I say that my biggest question mark with this defense is in the back end.
What about, I had a few questions
good about
here.
Safety, by the way.
Okay.
It's more of the corner.
What about Antonio Johnson? What do you expect?
And here's the other thing. I expect, first of all, I love Antonio Johnson. I think he's got major skill set. Ball skills, tackling, he's physical, he's got range. He's very similar, in my eyes, to Hamilton in Baltimore. He has those type of skills and those type of measurables. Now, what's he going to be asked in this defense? I don't know. You got anytime you have a new defensive coordinator, you're not exactly sure what the roles for guys are going to be when you watch them in the preseason, because they're kind of keeping the cards close to the vest. They don't want to show everything that they may end up using during the regular season. Could they kick them down and play him some nickel and play Savage at safety? Could they flip-flop them at will? I mean, there's a lot of flexibility that you could have because those two guys are kind of playing the similar position. But, yeah, it's going to be fun to watch, but you don't really know when you have a new defensive coordinator because you also have a kind of a blended staff. And the staff has input from all position coaches. So what it looks like sometimes is not exactly what it looked like before. So in other words, Ryan Nielsen has a different coaching staff and a different group of players than he had in Atlanta, and also a different group of players than he had in New Orleans. So what it looks like could be the core of it's going to be similar, but a lot of the intricacies and the variants are going to be a little bit different.
You mentioned, we already talked about Muma a little bit. Several questions. It's about where you are on Devin Lloyd right now and how he fits into this defense.
Well, he's your starting Mike, and I like Devin Lloyd. I think he's got great athleticism. The only thing that I worry about with Devin Lloyd is if he gets isolated with a running back in one-on-one or a tight end in one-on-one. In the past, he struggled a little bit with that. He struggled a little bit, I think, with identifying what he needs to do. We remember going back to where he got taken out of the lineup and Muma was inserted because, as the coaches said, he was just thinking too much and kind of lost some of his confidence. Well, part of that is that you're unsure of what you're supposed to do. So I'm excited about his athleticism. I love his work ethic. But in the back of my mind, I'm not completely comfortable with it because I remember what happened in the past, and I remember what I've seen in camp where you've seen him in coverage on a back, and he can't keep up.
Yeah. You mentioned Trevis Gibson. He's going to be the number 3 guy, right, at that spot. We'll see if they can find somebody to replace him, to push him down to 4 at some point.
Not going to happen this year.
Not going to happen
this
year.
Guy,
But Yasir Abdullah, going into year 2 now, does he do enough on special teams for the team to make the 53?
And that is a great question. And I think this game is going to be so important to him to change some minds because, you've got some guys that you have had, or should I say you trust at the linebacking position because you've trusted them in the past. Caleb Johnson kind of comes to mind with that. Tanner Muse, a guy that's been trusted before in that kind of special teams role before. Because, again, that's where he's going to be playing at mostly.
Yeah, it's the 5th linebacker.
Even if he's the starting Sam, because Sam is only on the field for 30, 35% of the defensive snaps because of base downs are starting to wane in the NFL nowadays. But I like what I've seen out of him at linebacker. And this has been a big adjustment for him because, this guy was an edge rusher at his time in Louisville. But he looks the part of linebacker. He's setting the edge. The play that comes to mind last week, he sets the edge and then he falls back to the inside and makes a really nice tackle and a physical tackle. The special team stuff have been just kind of so far. That if he shows better on special teams and continues to show what he has at linebacker, because not only is he a linebacker, but he also gives them a guy that's got some edge rush abilities. If he shows better on special teams, he's a lock.
Lugs, Friday night, we'll see the first team play basically the first half. Maybe if they look exceptionally good, you'll get them out a little bit earlier. But give me 2 or 3 things that you're looking for that, when it comes to finalizing the 53-man roster, just things that you need to see to feel good about this team heading into the opener.
Well, number one, just because, again, my big concern area is offensive line, cornerback. Those areas are going to be I'm going to look at it very closely, not only in the game, but also in the game film after. The wide receiver group, I don't really have any concerns whatsoever there. I don't think you can make a wrong move, whatever you decide to do there. I think you got a very talented group. Tight ends the same way, very talented group. You could go 4 deep at the tight end with DeGuara. Offensive line, again, the question mark. Running back, I think you're 3 deep right there. I think you're 3 deep, and that's it.
And you think that's Dearness as the 3rd guy, or does
Correct.
Jalen Jackson have a chance?
No, I think to me it's Dearness Johnson. It's a guy that you trust, and he's healthy, and he's available right now. But a lot of these backups, the cornerback spots, again, the areas of concern. The defensive tackle spot, like I said, is very deep, and a lot of similar guys. Who's going to separate there? That is a position that I guarantee you that other teams are looking at and waiting for the axe to drop to see what they might be able to acquire. Because every team in the league, what they're doing is they're looking at every roster around the league, and they're looking at positions, and they're looking at the Jaguars going, okay, during the first part of camp, they're really deep at safety. They're really deep at defensive tackle on offense. They've got a group of offensive linemen are question mark. Van Lanen may be a guy that maybe some people are watching because of the performance that he's been able to put up on film. But every team has, for example, the Jaguars may be watching another team's group of running backs because they know that they're 6 deep. And they may be able to get a guy that they know that team can't keep. So it's an interesting time. But, just for me, it's always, number one, the position groups of focus, which is the offensive line, the cornerback. But again, going back to last year and the completion of last year, there was a lack of a physical element along the offensive and defensive fronts that needed to be corrected for this year, so I will always look for that. until they prove to me and others that, hey, look, we are strong and we are physical and we're going to be that way this year.
I know they're already keeping the 4 tackles. It's pretty clear they got the 4 that they're going to keep. Cole Van Lanen's kind of the 5th guy, which is why.
By the way, Javon Foster did not play very well this past game.
Sure, but he's a 4th-round pick, so he's not going out the door, right, for the Jaguars this year.
Exactly.
So they got the 4 that they're going to have. Van Lanen's kind of the 5th guy, but he's certainly playing as one of the 4 best offensive tackles that they have right now, but they might have to let him go. Can he play anywhere else on the offensive line effectively for the team?
Yes. He can play guard, but he's not as good at guard. He's it's not his forte right now, and he's comfortable at tackle. He's a tackle. Can he play left? And played a lot left. Been playing mostly right, almost exclusively at right.
Mm-hmm.
To be a guy that has value, you gotta show that you can swing. And I don't know if he's really shown that. But as a right tackle, he's done very well.
What do you want to see from Trevor?
Oh, want to see accurate game management, in and out of the huddle.
Don't get hit.
Don't get hit. Stay healthy. Want to see a little bit of chemistry. Kind of start with not only his main guys, but Tank Bigsby in the passing game as well. It's just, look, I got high expectations for Trevor. And those high expectations can't be met unless he stays healthy. With most quarterbacks, that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, to your point, first and foremost, stay healthy.
All right. With that, Dylan, let's put a bow on it.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Injury Care Centers. Discover BioTarget Regenerative Therapy, a safer drug-free solution for lasting pain relief. Visit GoBioTarget.com.
All right, Lauren Brooks, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm healthy, thanks. How
Good.
are you?
You got to stay healthy.
I made it through training camp healthy.
You got to make it to the start of the regular season now. Still got weeks to go.
That is very true.
What will you be discussing today on helmets and heels?
Well, I don't know if y'all saw the article that Tyler Dunn did on golongtd.com, but he dove into his conversation with Press Taylor and how they decide about play calling and all those kinds of things. So we're going to get into that, and also I want to do kind of stock up, stock down on the Jaguars rookies for this 2024 draft class.
All right. Well, it's probably hard to know exactly, but, that's okay.
Yeah, through the training camp.
How do you feel right now on these guys? And that'll be interesting to definitely get into. I think most people are thumbs up on Brian Thomas Jr. Mason Smith probably, as Jeff said, needs to perform better in the games, but has been, showing his physical prowess in camp. So it'll be an interesting discussion.
His size is reason to be excited. I mean, his size and the way that he moves and his one-on-one pass rush, he's got a skill set that none of the other defensive tackles have, except for Eric Armstead, if you consider him a defensive tackle.
Right. LB, have a great show.
Well, thank you so much. And speaking of Mason, I do think people were critical of the draft pick at the time. And so to see him now in person a little bit and in games, I think now people have kind of changed course a little bit. Thank you.
Got to play well. Thank you, Lauren Brooks. Helmets and Heels coming your way for the next 2 hours. Logs, where are we going to catch you for the remainder of the week?
Wednesday, 7 o'clock this week is our first Jaguars All Access TV show. Me and Brent Martineau got a good show planned. And then on Thursday, we will have our Doug Peterson show as well as Happy Hour from the 4 to 6 window Thursday afternoon. So, and then game on Friday.
Yeah.
And then the outdoor show Saturday morning. I don't know if I'm going to be an early
calling
riser.
In on that one, maybe?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. All right, Logs. Good stuff. We appreciate it. And we will review that Falcons tape with you next Tuesday. That'll do it for us. Tomorrow, we'll have Johnny O stopping by. Also have Cap stopping by from the Bold City Brigade. He's going to tell us about some of the trips that the fan base has planned for this year. And so if you are looking to maybe go on the road with the Jaguars, that'll be a good one to tune into. We'll do that in the first hour tomorrow. For Tony Smith and Dylan Denmark, for Jeff Lageman, I'm Mike Dempsey. Thank you for listening to a Check the Tape Tuesday. This has been Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today for the